You want me to comfort you? You want me to listen to you? I will. And I'm here for that because there is no shame or guilt in any sexual experience, whether you're thinking it or whatever, right? Because maybe that's where the agreement is. Hopefully they had that conversation. If not, then you need to have it. But at the same time, it's like, how much do I want to comfort you? Because if I'm comforting you, then how do I feel after I do that? This is Vivian Villacis.
And this is Raul Villacis.
Welcome to the God, Money, and Purpose podcast.
Welcome to the God, Money, and Purpose podcast. My name is Raul Villacis, and I'm here with my co-host,
Vivian Villacis.
And today we have a very spicy subject. We actually almost got into an argument right before the podcast because she wanted to turn this entire podcast into a complete different topic. I said, hold on one second. Let's get it together. Let's get it together. And the topic that we're going to talk about is, are you pushing your partner away? And I think that's what happens when we're not on the same page. We kind of tend to push each other away.
I think that's what happens when we don't give each other the time that we deserve.
Yeah, well, here's how I operate, and Vivian knows this, and that's why we stayed together for such a long time. Is
yes.
I'm going 100 miles an hour,
yes.
and I don't fucking apologize for doing 20 different things. So when I'm in the flow, like, you need to get on board, or you gotta get out of the way. And that's what happens in this podcast. You know, right before we started, she's asking me all these questions. I said, babe, this podcast is as probably more yours than me.
Yes.
Like, you need to take the ownership and run with it, you know, because I'm not always going to be there with you.
And I think that's a really great distinction for, if, like, every time I'm reminded of that, it's like, if you guys don't know us, we're so completely different, and we're like night and day and slow and fast. Like, everything that we could be opposite, we are opposite. And I think it's, you know, like, I love to just sit back and sometimes to realize, like, and this is our therapy, because we go through challenges all the time. And I'm serious, like, this is just the best way to, like, sit back and bring this awareness, because when a guy is on a mission to do something, and we in our feminine energy want attention, want to be seen, want to be like, hey, look at me, like, hey, what about me? And we're not giving that attention. It's like, oh, you know, like, it hurts. But at the same time, I have to be reminded of, like, okay, we are doing something. We are on a mission. We are, you know, we're working. So I know that you have that, what would you say, like, that character, that mentality of that.
It's just the mission that you give a man. If you say to a man,
like, right now you're not being my lover. You're just being the businessman.
I'm the business partner here. I'm your business partner.
Business partner. There we go. You're my business partner. So, like, I have to show up in the same way. And then sometimes I forget, because I want him to be my lover, as he is most of the time. But not to get offended and not to feel like he did something wrong, but actually address it. And then we just laugh about it, and then we continue, right?
Because here's, you know, I the same way that I'm with my kids. I said, I'm your father, but at the same time, I want to lead you so you could actually learn how to do things your way. And as a man, sometimes we bend, and sometimes we apologize, and we think, like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do this. But if you're in business with your partner, with your wife or your husband, you gotta treat like a business.
It's difficult. It's really difficult.
You can't sugarcoat shit, because we're here in a mission. We're here to create an impact.
Yes.
We're here in a timeline.
Yes.
And if you give your partner a mission, you gotta go get it. That's the masculine energy. Okay, what are we doing here?
I know, and then I forget, because on Thursdays is our date night, and then I come already not prepared, so, like, I'm already there, and then I kind of have to, like, whoa, girl, like, we're still working, like, show up the way that you need to show up. Where's your queen mentality? Step into that queen mentality, and then there needs to be this transition period that happens for both of us, especially for you, to actually slow down and to come back and to be my lover and to be, you know, the king that I need you to be, and actually take care of me. So,
beautiful. So,
anyway.
well, that was a little rant for before the podcast. So let's get into it.
Get that out of our chest.
Give us the question, because we're gonna answer a really good question that came over the weekend, and I think this question will impact a lot of couples out there that are having challenges and pushing each other away. And I'm going to address that with a couple of points, but why don't you go ahead and read that question?
Yeah. So we want to thank you for sending in the questions, and any questions that you have, please feel free to send them. We want to answer as much as we can because we know that it helps not only us, but the people out there listening. Raul and I have been married for almost 20 years, over 20 years. And it, like everything that we say comes from a place of love and comes from a place of awareness and things that we probably have gone through a little bit here and there. But if there is something that that makes sense to you or impacts you or something that you've gone through, please share that too, because it is important for all of us to share our stories. It is important for all of us to share what we've gone through, because that is the only way that we get to grow. That is the only way that we get to learn. So it's not just us, it's also the people out there.
Yeah. And right before you say that, babe, I want to encourage every single one of the listeners. You're watching us through YouTube. If you are listening to our podcast, if you're watching us through Facebook right now, just send us a message, letting us know where you listening us from, where you listening this content from, and we'd love to interact. Send us a message through our DMs and questions that you may have that we could address in the next podcast, or if we have time, we'll address it in this podcast if you're watching us live. So thank you for engaging with us.
Yes, thank you. So this question was from last week, and it says, we've been struggling in an area of our marriage. My husband has been feeling empty and having feelings of not being enough. And instead of using alcohol, medication, drugs to numb it, he's been looking at other women. He comes to me and he tries to be honest and share with me what he goes and what he does. And all I could do is just seem to go numb myself. He instantly expects me to comfort him and to be there for him. And this has been going on for years. I need space and I need time to sit with it, and it hurts me so much, even if it's something that he's dealing with inside. The question is, what would it be a good way of addressing the situation or dealing with it? Because all I can do and say is nothing, and literally I feel nothing. Time just stops as he tells me about what she looks like or what she was doing, and just nothing comes out. I appreciate you both.
Thank you. Beautiful question. Very detailed, very in depth, and you could see and feel the authenticity from reaching out. You could feel the energy there. You could also feel the pain at the same time, the uncertainty. So let's attack it from a couple different perspectives. Number one is honoring also the man that is coming to his wife and saying, I feel guilty, I feel ashamed, I feel like I'm not enough, and is bringing these problems over to his wife, and with the hope that she will understand, probably with the hope of getting some insights, and also for the woman to honoring the woman for holding the space and not necessarily maybe creating a story of drama of pushing him away, but also like holding the space and
for him to talk,
for him to say what he needs to say. But as you could see in that conversation, it seems that that strategy is not working. Because that sometimes we have the right intention but the wrong strategy, and that's when Vivian read to me that question. I said that's a perfect example of how being real and raw with the wrong strategy works against us. Because I'm all for being real and raw, but at the same time there's always a when it's when you go in too deep into putting all the pain into somebody. Sometimes you just want to say things to get out of your chest, but then you end up throwing up into somebody else. So one of the analogies that I use with my clients is like, become the container, not the garbage can, right? And at this moment, the man is in pain, and he's using her as the
or asking for her
garbage
to
can.
be
It's like throwing up all over her, saying, "Hey, I have this huge guilt and shame, this huge feeling of not being enough, and now I'm throwing up all over you." And I bet after that, he feels great. He feels, okay, wow, got off my chest. I'm not lying to my wife. I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But then he goes back and he looks at a woman again, or comes back with the same story again, saying, well, I looked, and that's the part of that strategy is not working.
Yeah.
And even though it seems like you have to be honest, you have to be real and raw and talk to your partner about it. But if it's not serving it, you have to try a different strategy.
I also, I want to go back a little bit, and when she says, instead of using alcohol, medication, drugs to numb, he's been looking at other women. And I think even that in itself is we think that, drugs and alcohol has to be the what numbs us, the distraction, what takes everything away. But women is a type of a drug because it gives you this sense of wanting, like that lust that is there. That in itself is a drug. And there's many other forms of addiction, whether it's food or whether it's shopping or whether it's eating or women or just anything that brings this secretive, naughty pleasure.
So this
right?
is where Vivian and I had not an argument, but we see it from different perspectives because automatically
we were just having a conversation.
Vivian wanted to label that as infidelity. Automatically, that was like he's cheating on her.
Okay, so where I was going with that is this. So, like before, it was so easy to kind of like put a label of what infidelity or adultery was, right? Because it's like if you, especially like in our countries, coming back from like, I'm thinking like our Spanish heritage, if you had an affair with someone else and there was a child, and that's adultery, that's infidelity. But nowadays, infidelity is like so broad because it could be texting with someone, or it could be something on Facebook that you're connecting with like a high school friend. It could be a massage with a happy ending. It could be just a conversation or whatever it is. But it's like nowadays, like there's such a broader way of being unfaithful.
So,
and where I'm going with this is like it starts with something so little that sometimes we're so naive to that stuff. And that's kind of like what happened to me. I remember like when Facebook started, I had a couple of friends reach out to me that were in high school, and these were guy friends, and these were guys that I actually felt attracted to back in high school. Imagine this, right? And then like me, like I was gonna friend them and like have a conversation with them and like reconnect and like and for a minute it was like that temptation of like wanting to know what happened and wanting to know like, but then I'm like, wait a minute. If I start this, where is it going to take me? So I had to catch myself and not even like befriend the person, but just say no, thank you, and just ignore or delete or whatever it is that you want to do. But it's like, what happens when we open the door to those things? And that's where I'm coming from. It's like, we're all human, like the temptation comes in any which way. And when I was reading this question and we were talking about adultery, like it made me think of the commandments, God's commandments in the Bible, like adultery or infidelity or whatever you want to call it, or coveting your wife's or your neighbor's goods is cited twice in the commandments. Like it tells you, not to covet your neighbor's wife, and not to commit adultery. So it's like it says it twice. God must have known that for a reason.
So now let's bring that to light, because I think that's where automatically you see the shift of how a woman sees it. Okay, you look at another woman, you automatically you want to fuck her, you want to be with her, you want to leave me, right?
Not necessarily.
The guy's only looking. so now look at the frame. Like the guy's looking at the woman and he's telling his wife, I'm attracted to this woman, I'm not doing anything. But just that already is creating adultery. Like in the man as well, I think in that situation, I'm not condoning this or addressing or suggesting that, but I think that's where the framework of where are they in the relationship, where is he at, that he has to, continue to start looking at, because for me everything is energy.
Yes.
Right. So if I look at an energetic field, I'm not blind. There's beautiful women, everywhere. Right.
And I love that. See, and I honor the part of him coming to her and telling her that. And I love the fact that there are some women that are so in their feminine that it captivates the masculine energy. You just, like it moves your head. And I love that. And I have even done that. When I'm truly in my feminine, like I've taken men's gazes, right?
It feels good. It feels good for women.
Right.
And it feels good, when you start looking at the energy, at the feminine energy, is a magnetic energy.
Yes, it's a storm. It moves.
So when a man is in his full masculine, he also attracts that feminine energy. So from both parts, both humans need to feel attractive, need to feel wanted, need to feel desired.
Yes.
So the moment that you
is
start looking,
beautiful.
when you're putting your energy and you are addressing somebody else's beauty, then you're giving a part of you. You're giving that energy. Where I think as a man, when you start looking at, okay, if I'm putting that energy, and then why is it that I'm feeling guilty? Why is the guilt and shame coming in? That is the question that as a man you have to, because I'm looking at a beautiful woman. I admire her body,
Yeah.
but that's where
You draw the line.
they draw the line, because I know it's energy. So I'm not going to leak the energy or give too much more energy to that, because now I could use it for something. There's some women out there that when I see them, like, they inspire me, and then I'll text you how much I love you, and I text you like, baby, I can't wait to get home. We're gonna do this. So then I use that energy towards something, and I think that's where when the man maybe is misdirected in a way of, okay, you're admiring somebody, what are you doing with that energy? Are you addressing that energy? Because you could use that energy and talk to your wife and even use that as a spark.
Yes.
To be able to reconnect with your wife. But the fact that you're feeling less than, or the fact that he's feeling ashamed, is a deeper rooted belief that he shouldn't. And then maybe sometimes because of that belief that you're already committing adultery, or that belief that you're already fucked up, or that you already, man, is what you thought it, you already did it. Yeah. Which the reality is, no, it was a thought.
You're not your thoughts.
An action has to happen. You're not your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions. You're the awareness of your thoughts, your feelings, and emotions. What you do with that awareness is what creates your next move. So now what I would suggest, the wife wrote us this, right?
Right.
Is really have that conversation. Listen, I'm not your garbage can. I'm not here to throw up. And if you're feeling not enough, it's because probably he wants to, because now you're not compensating, you are rewarding bad behavior or rewarding the same cycle.
Right.
And this is unconscious too. It's not, I'm not saying that it's conscious. It's unconscious because now I'm feeling guilty. So I come to you, then you take my burden out. So I feel good, but then I go do it again.
But she doesn't feel good.
But I feel good. So I do it again. And I come back and see the cycle continues. So the guy continues to create a mess.
Yeah. And that's the part that I kind of don't agree with, because I mean, I agree. It's like a catch-22, right? Because you want your partner to come in to tell you what they're going through, what they're feeling, but there has to be like some sort of boundary. And that's where the woman comes in and you create that boundary. It's like, okay, you want me to comfort you? You want me to listen to you? I will. And I'm here for that, because there is no shame or guilt in any sexual experience, whether you're thinking it or whatever, right? Because maybe that's where the agreement is. Hopefully they had that conversation. If not, then you need to have it. But at the same time, it's like, how much do I want to comfort you? Because if I'm comforting you, then how do I feel after I do that? How is it like you compare? This ideal woman in me starts to compare myself to what he's looking at. And then now it's not, you're not only good enough, but I'm not good enough, and I'm not beautiful enough.
So now it creates chaos.
So now both of us are not good enough. Both of us are not perfect enough, because the ideal woman has already kicked in and is making up all this other story. And then that's kind of like where you go and it's like you broke this trust, and it causes a trauma in our bodies. It causes a trauma in our heart. And it's like, I want to help you, but this feels all fucked up.
Yeah. So I'll give an analogy, because I think it's not a simple fix, but at least, let's say you're watering a plant, right? And then you go outside and you're watering this plant and you're putting the water in the plant. But then after, when you come home and you feel guilty because you haven't watered the plant that you have at home. And then you come home and then you tell them, listen, I just gave all this water to the plant outside.
I have none for you.
I feel bad. I have nothing water for you, but could you forgive me? And that plant that's inside your home is loving enough. This is no problem. Hopefully tomorrow you have water for me. And then he comes out and he continues to pour water outside, and comes back and cries and feels bad. I'm sorry. I gave all my water to the plant outside and I don't have any more water for you. So how do you expect that flower that to burst inside your home if you're not watering? That's the same thing with energy. If you're looking at other women and have the energy to praise or to look, use some of that energy and water that plant at home, because you're not doing anything good to nurture this plant at home, because eventually this plant at home could grow and could be beautiful and could be even more energetic than any plant outside, because
the plant is already beautiful.
Whatever you water, it grows.
Yes, and that plant inside is already beautiful. Just know that plant is already beautiful, and it will wither away if it has no water, but it's already beautiful.
So now also the plant inside. Right now, let's look at the guy comes in and says, "I'm starting having water." Okay, motherfucker, I want to have my own water. I'm gonna bring my own water, and don't tell me about your water coming in. Like next time you drop a glass of water out there, you better know that I'm gonna get my water on, and eventually this cannot work because you're not appreciating what you have or the water that you have in here. Because now, if I'm coming in and I'm looking at a flower outside, I'm watering, I come home, now I'm like, who's watering you? Like, what's going on? Like, so that's where the beauty comes, when a woman owns herself and when a man owns themselves. You don't need any water from anybody, but you actually appreciate the fact that both people are watering each other's plants, and that's how their relationship grows.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that analogy. Thank you for sharing that, Raul. So
we just got a couple of plants in the
gosh,
pool,
so beautiful.
And I'm getting into the plants.
I don't know where I was gonna say. You just made me lose a whole train of thought. But I think I was gonna say something along the lines that even when you are in a good marriage, that these thoughts come up, that these things happen. Just because you are in a relationship, just because you are in a partnership, like these things will come up. And I think the more that we address it, the more that we talk about it, is that we could get through it. And I think there has to be some clear boundaries and some clear understanding as to like, this is what I need from you, and this is how I need you to show up. And it's the same thing for a man. Like I would say to the guy, it's like, you're not showing up as a king. Like, how are you showing up at home for your wife? And then even take it a step further. Like, if you have children, if you have girls, like we have a boy and a girl, so we're always like with these two dilemmas, right? Not dilemma, situations. Like, we look at Abigail, and I always think like, just like, how would I show up? Because I want her to see me show up as that woman, as that queen and mentality, right? So then it kind of like, it inspires me to think different. The same thing for a man. Like, if you're a father, if you're a husband, like, just think of it like you have a little girl. When she grows up, how would you want somebody to show up for her?
But I think that exactly same mentality is probably why he feels guilt and shame. I don't think I don't think that they are not aware of it. And that's where I come in, when you start looking at, okay, it's energy. I'm leaking energy. I'm focusing energy. There's no shortage. This guy doesn't seem like if he comes in and he tells his wife and he's feeling guilty, obviously he doesn't want to do it. He obviously loves her, doesn't want to be that guy. One of the things that he could probably look at, what makes him inside to actually leak that type of energy out there and leave that energy with, when he could actually use that energy and become a volcano. Sometimes we need to harness that energy and become the volcano from inside. And a lot of times we feel the pressure. Maybe it's the business side, and many times, and the patterns are, when the business is suffering, then you're looking for something else. When you don't feel like you're producing, you're looking for somebody else to tell you how great you are. So all kinds of patterns. Bottom line is, if there's love, there needs to be constant feeding and watering each other. I'm feeding each other. That's what I said to you. Like, if you come to me and you are being real and said, I saw this guy and I love the way I said, that's fine. I could take it, but at the same time, where is what's the value of it in the relationship? I mean, what's the value? If I tell you, I see this hot woman, like if I'm coming to you and tell you all this stuff, what's the value? Like, what are we doing to build each other up? Now, if I'm building you up and I'm comparing you to the woman, there's no value. So it's when you're being real with your partner, when you have a conversation with your partner, always think about this. Am I watering the plant? Am I building them up? Am I uplifting them? Because that's what you want in the other side. Not judging, not complaining, not trying to fix each other. Look with yourself first, get strong, and your partner you either will connect at a deeper level, or you will probably grow apart. But you can't help him unless you help yourself. She cannot be helped unless you help yourself. And both of you need to get stronger emotionally to actually not be each other's garbage cans, but be each other's container. I think that's also the best analogy is become the container, hold the space, but also know your limits and say, you're not going to throw up all over
how
me.
much, yeah,
you're not
like,
going to
how
throw
much
up all
can you
over the garbage. Like you have to deal with your shit, and I could be the container to help you and love you. But at the end, you have to do something to help yourself and create a pattern interrupt on progress, because you can't just reward bad behavior and expect different results.
Yeah, and it's also, I was gonna say, like, it's not her job to really continue to comfort him and to be there for him, because it's something that he needs to deal with. It's something that you as men sometimes have not been doing, have not been asking the questions, that have not been doing the work, and have not been showing up. So I think, men, is a time for you to show up, is a time for you to like really ask this deep questions and know like where is this coming from? Like, where is it rooted from? And address it, and then deal with it. And then if you still need help from your partner, from your wife, from your lover, like then you come to her and you ask her. But it comes from a different place, because I don't think it's fair for you to put all of that on her to have to deal with what you're feeling. Like you got to figure it out. You got to figure out like what is your responsibility for this, and as a woman, like how much are you willing to take in? How much are you willing to let in? Because the more that you allow that to happen, I just feel like there's so much more that you have to heal. There's so much more trauma that is caused in your body and in your heart, like I said before, and it's not something easy to go back and to deal with.
And one last thing and we'll end with this is the polarity. A lot of men, what I see is there's no polarity in the relationship, and that's why they're looking at the woman to find that polarity, to find that attraction. Yeah. And if he's coming to his wife, is because he's looking at her more as a mother energy, more than a sexual partner energy. And if she's already crossed that line, that she's created more of the mother energy, then she has to shift. And then I guarantee you, the moment that she shifts into like, listen, I'm not your mother, I'm not here to baby you, I'm here to I'm your lover, I'm your queen, the polarity would change.
And that happens when we as women, we are so stuck on our mothering energy that we're taking care of our husbands, our lovers, our partners, instead of where we need to switch into that temptress energy and to really show up and then be naughty and then look for all these parts of us that we have, because every woman is beautiful. Every woman could like bring that forth when we need it. But I think it's a lot more work than a lot of women are willing to do. I know that's how it was for me. It's like, I'll just stay here and mother you instead of be your lover, because it takes so much more work, right?
And that's when you lose the polarity.
And then there's no attraction. So there is no other woman. I mean, even if the other woman has bigger whatever it is that she could have, it takes nothing away from you, because every one of us is made different for a reason. And like our sexiness, our aliveness just comes on. It turns on. It doesn't matter what you have. It doesn't matter what you're lacking.
Guys are easy.
It's just an energy.
Let me tell you something. Women, for women who are listening, we're easy. We get turned on really fast.
It's the really confidence that we have is the energy, us.
The energy that you exude. And man, like if you're stuck right now in leaking energy and putting your focus in a lot of places, just know that that's it. It's just energy that's being misdirected. Learn how to maintain the energy. Learn how to use the energy to be able to create the results that you want. Because at the end of the day, we're here to create. We're not here just to be all over the place, leaking our energy and giving our energy and watering the plants for everywhere else. That we're not gonna build a kingdom.
You're not gonna get to savor their beauty. I think relationships are so hard. You don't need to go leak the energy anywhere else. Hold on to the energy to the person that really deserves that in front of you, and allow the relationship to be one of greatness.
Beautiful. Well, and with that, thank you for having this conversation with us. Thank you for our not argument, our conversations here. So I'll give a shout out to a couple of guys who are listening to us. We got Jared, Ivy, Rosie, Brad, Nick, Paul, Christy, Vic. We got a lot of guys today. Michael, Arturo, Cindy, Robert. Thank you for watching us. Sanchez, Catherine, Lawrence, just put your questions in here. Hopefully this conversation helped you figure out what the next level is for you. At the end of the day, there's not a perfect conversation. Relationships are complicated. I'd rather have a business conversation all day long.
Yeah, because the business conversation
It's
ends.
cut and dry. We
It's
know.
like, okay, you know where you're going, but with the relationship,
It evolves.
It could go every which way. And that is the beautiful part about it. It's like it grows. And if you're not growing in your relationship, if you're not expanding in your relationship, then you're just stuck in the same relationship, and you want the relationship to grow. If you have a good relationship, it could be great. If you have a great relationship, it could be fabulous. Like there's always a next level.
And one quick tip for the men who are listening: your relationship is a reflection of how you run your business. I guarantee you work on your relationship, your business is gonna become easy, because that's what happened to us. Like if I could work in our relationship, business is easy, and it happens without even wanting to, because effortless because now we've built our muscle and work in our relationships, that our business aspect becomes second nature. So thank you for watching us. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, everywhere except for our bedroom. That's where we keep it private. Learn it, live it, experience it.
Love life.
If you receive any value from this conversation, comment, subscribe, and share as we continue to impact more people and take it to the next level.
And please send us your comments and questions so we could answer them in the next podcast.
See you in the next episode.